Hi everyone, this is Heather Lottinen from the Flourish.Academy. I'm here with my good bestest friend, Mara. Hey Mara.
Hi everybody. Hi, how are you?
Hey, thanks for being here. It's our weekly Q&A. You know what time it is?
It's 20 minutes late.
It's question time. Well, live productions that just happened. Okay, the first question is, does the better camera make the focusing faster, or is it lens dependent? This is more a question about close range and low light focusing. So, Nicole, does the camera make the focusing faster? Well, certainly nicer cameras focus faster.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
What was your first DSLR?
The Canon T2i.
Nice. Okay.
Isn't that a great camera?
Now you're shooting with
a 5D Mark III.
Have you noticed the difference?
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
okay, so it does matter.
I mean, yeah, you're making a bigger investment, better equipment.
Better equipment performs better. So a camera does matter. A nicer full-frame camera will tend to focus faster than an older model crop sensor consumer level camera.
Yes.
I mean, I guess is it lens dependent? Yes, focusing is lens dependent. So obviously if you have a really nice lens, it's going to focus faster than a kit lens on an old Rebel.
Yes, true.
I mean, pretty straightforward. Yeah, especially low light, wouldn't you say?
Oh God, most definitely.
Yeah.
That lens, if I didn't have that 70 to 200 at weddings, I would have been like
dead in the water.
Ain't nothing happening here.
Yeah. So to answer that question, yeah, the camera and the lens make a difference for sure. Okay, Susie is asking, Tave 17 hats, shoot cue, successware, or old school paper? I've been a paper person since the beginning, but I know I am missing out on some opportunities. Could you tell us your thoughts on this and what you like? What are your thoughts on studio management software?
Oh gosh, well I wouldn't have been able to survive in the last 3 years without my studio management system. I use 17 hats. I know there's a ton out there. Susie mentioned some. There's like Honeybook and Sprout Studio. I mean, there's
a lot.
10. And some of them are specifically made for photographers. Like 17 hats I know was developed for photographers by photographers.
Sprout in the studio too.
Yeah. I love it. 17 hats sends quotes, invoices, contracts, and they just book everything, and they can email me and say I'm ready to book and be booked in 5 minutes. I just send them a quote that's made templates and out the door it goes. I think you can use any of these software. They have free trials. Just watch the input takes forever. Creating your templates, putting your clients in there, that I remember taking me 2 or 3 weeks to get all of that set up.
Yeah.
But once it's magic for me. It's just da-da-da-da out the door. And it, my 17 hats, it sends reminder emails out based on workflows I set up. So when someone books a boudoir, I put them in the system, we initiate the workflow, and then it'll send the quote, and then a month before their session, it'll send them the what not to wear email, and then 2 weeks an invoice reminder, 1 week what to practice, and then a few days before their final session.
And that's all automated?
All automated. I don't have to touch it.
When would you say was the inflection point in your business that you needed something like studio management software?
When I got to the point of over 40 clients a year, and I'm not just talking boudoirs, but when I got to 40 clients a year, I could not manage via spreadsheet who was due what, when, what I sent to this person, have I sent this yet? I mean, spreadsheets are effective, but we're always going to miss something. I just felt like I was going to miss something, and when the system will set it up for me, then I just make sure it's there and do it. But I did manage with a spreadsheet for
and that's okay.
years.
I think a lot of people will start out with a spreadsheet, and some will remain there, and that's fine. I think the key point you just made now is when you get to the point where you have more clients than you can manage and you miss something, or you could miss something. That would be devastating.
Yeah, I don't know how I would. And in 17 hats, my calendar syncs to my phone and other calendars, so I can just go in and look what's coming up.
So you know.
Yeah, and we have I have different calendars set up in 17 hats. So one's my shooting calendar, one's my viewing calendar, and one's all the workflow calendars, so you can see what's
that's
due
nice.
when.
Multiple calendars. Leanne uses Tave. I use Tave. Loved it. I think all of these work well. You know what I think this is going to be a question of? Picking it. It's like choosing a camera system. Pick it up, put it in your hands, see what you like.
Everyone's different. I mean, I know some people, love Honeybooks. Some people love Sprout Studio. I love 17 Hats. It's really just personal preference. But I think, it definitely, you, Susie, you need studio management.
She needed studio management.
5 years ago.
But I would say, I think you mentioned this, is download a free trial of a couple of these. Yes. Go look at their website, see which one you like, which one seems to fit in your hand the best, basically.
And I say, when I was looking for it, I went in and just put in, I signed up for the free trial, which is usually 2 weeks. And I put in a couple clients, just not my whole database, but just a couple so I could see how it flowed and what I liked better. There are some parts of 17 Hats that I don't use, like the bookkeeping and stuff, because I still like to have control over that. But
yes. Christine says she's working on getting 17 Hats set up for herself.
Oh my, yes. So it takes some work, I'm not going to lie.
Are you available for some consultations?
Oh, sure. I'd love to do that. I love helping people with 17
might
hats.
help, yeah. And if you've done it, you're very methodical and process system oriented. So my guess is that you have it set up very well. So I would say contact Mara for 17 Hats and contact Leanne for Tave.
There you go.
Yep. Taryn has been working a lot with Leanne to get her set up. Okay, the next question. Mary asks, how risky is it to buy a used camera body? How can a buyer lower their risk? And then she goes on to explain why she's asking. But she said she's just wondering about statistics. If a used body has a warranty, how likely is it a problem will show up in the first month or two? There is no way to determine how likely a problem is going to show up.
You don't know what's under the hood.
There's no way. But don't you think that this is like purchasing a used car?
It is.
You accept the risk for the lower price.
You don't know what's under there.
You
don't know what's been done to the camera. You just kind of have to take it and go with it.
How they treated it. Mm-hmm. The only thing you can do is look at shutter actuations.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, let's come back to that. We're going to talk about shutter actuations. But the point is, if you want to save money by buying used anything, there's going to be an inherent risk in that purchase.
Which is why the price is lower.
That's why it's lower. So you can spend more and get it new, or you can take the risk. It is nice if you knew the buyer.
Yeah.
Or the original buyer.
Yeah, like when we were selling off our equipment from not doing weddings anymore, people know it was coming from us.
One owner, it was you.
Me. And but if you go to B&H and go to their used system, you just don't know what's happening.
I sold some of my Canon gear to Susie. I've sold it to other photographers. I took care of my gear. It was in good condition. But there's no way for me to even predict when that might break. I mean, how would I know?
Yeah,
I know shutter actuations. And if something breaks a month or two in, how do you know it was something they did versus something you did? I don't think there's any. I mean, how would you know that? I do know this. There are currently 4 used D750s at YM right now, and there's a special code. I have a code, Heather's Deal, all one word. You get $50 off. 2 of those Nikon D750s, I met the guy who traded them in, and he's a stand-up guy, and he seems like he would take care of his equipment. Yeah. 1 owner, low shutter counts. Okay, if that's the case,
I'll take that.
Right? Then
I'll take that chance. Yeah.
Correct. But if you come to me and say, hey, this guy's selling this camera costs $3,000, he's selling it for $500 and he's had it for 10 years.
Good point.
I'm not sure I would
purchase that. You have your own promo code. You're
isn't that awesome?
You're super high end now,
They are so kind to the Flourish Academy community.
Oh,
they're awesome.
They are.
Yeah, they're so nice. Okay, Marie says, as a pro, which you are, as a pro,
yes.
So this is directed at you. How consistent in color are your prints versus your monitor? Understanding that prints will always be darker. Do you experience issues where prints from Pro Labs are more yellow or pink in undertone versus monitor? Assuming you use their profiles and sRGB, if so, how do you compensate for the variance? Struggling immensely with Pro Labs not matching monitor and wondering if my expectations are too high.
Well, I don't think your expectations are too high. Agreed. I think you need to calibrate your monitor.
Agreed. Yeah, they should match.
Simple answer. I mean, calibrate your monitor. I even calibrate my TV.
Do you?
Yeah. I started because I wanted to start doing my IPS and show them on the TV. That was my problem with
it didn't look
the coloring didn't look right. So calibrate your TV. So you just have to calibrate your monitor. That's all. And then your prints really shouldn't be they shouldn't differ too much. You shouldn't get something and be like, whoo, that's dark. Usually it means something's wrong with your monitor.
The key for me is compensate for the variance.
Yeah.
Negative.
Yeah.
You should not have to compensate for any variance. They should, and she said, understanding that prints will always be darker. That's not true. No. It should be spot on or darn near close.
Yeah, pretty close.
Sometimes I'll get something back from a lab that I don't use every once in a while and it's a tiny bit off. I can live, it depends, I can live with. But from the labs that I use all the time,
it's
on.
It matches.
It's
perfectly.
on. So how consistent? Extremely. As a pro, your expectations are not too high. I hope that helps. Okay, Connie asks, how long should I give clients to decide what print products they want to order? Some clients will get in touch and say they're having a difficult time deciding, and it's 2 to 3 months before they get their order in, or never. How long should I give them to order after they've seen their gallery? What's the best way to nudge them into ordering faster? You said deadlines. Clients choose through items through Pixie Set Gallery. Okay. How long should you give clients to order before IPS?
Oh, before IPS, I was gonna say just do IPS. So what I used to do was I gave clients 2 weeks. When I would send out online galleries, I said you have 2 weeks to decide. It's in their contract. It says they have 2 weeks. If they take longer than that, an unarchiving fee applies. Wow. And my unarchiving fee was pretty significant, so it's an incentive for them to do what they need to do.
Yeah.
I think my archiving fee was maybe about $200.
Wow, my restocking fee, which is what I called it, was $50. But
that's cheap.
Yeah, that was too cheap.
So I think you have to set that expectation with them up front, put it in your contract. I always made sure that that section of my contract was one that they had to check mark, because I always make sure the ones that, like, the points, I mean, a lot of the legalese in your contract is like, okay, no one's really reading that. But the ones I wanted, like, my clients to really focus on, they have to check mark.
Yes.
So I made sure that was one that they check marked, so that they read that, oh, I better do what I need to do. And then what I would do is send out reminder emails. So after 1 week, they would get the reminder email like, hey, you have until XYZ to get your order in. And then like 3 to 4 days before, they would get the, hey, if you don't get your order in by this date, you're going to be charged a restocking.
You're in trouble.
Restocking on archiving fee. So that's what I would do.
This is about managing
expectations.
Yes, and expectations.
And over communicate if it's something you're very worried about. And I think even at their session, that's something you always want to be talking about.
I would talk about it repeatedly. I would communicate it both in spoken word and in written word. And Connie, this is a matter of setting guidelines, establishing them for you and your business, and then enforcing them. And I think the shorter the time frame, the better.
Yeah.
The longer you allow people,
they'll just let it go.
It just expands to the time allotted. So they'll let it go. Why wouldn't they?
Yeah.
They'll wait till the last minute.
And then, that's why I felt 2 weeks was an appropriate time, because in 2 weeks, there aren't like major life events happening over a 2 week period.
No, right.
And if something, I've made exceptions before in the past to people, but
always outlined.
But I don't want to. It's not something I advertise like, hey, just take as long as you want, because then this one will talk to that one, and then
And then it's out of control.
And then you've lost control.
You've lost control. Yeah. She actually followed this up. I didn't see this. With the next question, she says, speaking of IPS, in-person sales, should I be doing IPS instead of having clients choose their list through their online gallery? That's a big question.
That's a huge question.
Should you? Could you? Can you?
Do you want to? Do you want to do it? IPS is more of a time investment in your clients than sending off online galleries. Your money flow is different. I know I've blogged about this for the Flourish.Academy a couple times.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's a completely different model.
It's like, what's your goal? Heather always asks me, what's your goal with switching to IPS? For me, when I switched, it was about making more money with less clients. And it's true, you make more money from IPS than you do online galleries.
Also, you were leveling up your experience for your client.
That's true.
And you felt that you needed to deliver a different level of experience in order to justify or add value to the price increase.
Yeah, and my packages changed quite significantly. And it wasn't something where I could send a gallery to a client and they would understand what they needed to do. It was something that I had to walk them through and physically show them products and things like that. So, yeah.
Yeah,
a lot of changes happened.
When someone asks me a question like that that's so big,
yeah,
I always say to them, what is your desired outcome?
Yeah.
Talk to me about what you want to see happen, because it's not as simple as saying I should be doing IPS or I should be delivering packages or shoot and burn. It's not that straightforward. No, and by the way, the Flourish Academy, we support all of those models.
Yeah.
We don't think that one is right, wrong, better than the other. So they're just different.
You decide what's right for your business, right?
And you personally.
I mean, I personally did shoot and burn when I wasn't full-time, when I had 2 full-time jobs, my photography and my corporate job, because I didn't have the time to invest in my clients to like, okay, come sit down for an hour and a half and let me walk you through everything, because I was still working another job.
Well, it's two appointments now.
Yeah, and that,
So the shoot and the...
Yeah, so, you decide what works for you. We're not here to judge or tell you what's best. It's totally up to you. Yeah.
Okay, Michelle asks, how do I get sharper photos with a flash when the shutter speed cannot be faster than 1/200th? She's talking about flash sync speed. I'll come back to that. But the example is moving children or a wedding reception. Well, I see.
Do you want to take that one?
Well, do you?
No, you can take that one if you want.
I will say this. You can go above 1/200th of a second when you have high speed sync on your camera and your flash. You have to have specific camera bodies. Only specific bodies do this, as well as specific flashes. Both of these units have to have high speed sync in order for this to work, but you can shoot at higher shutter speeds in freeze motion.
Yes.
However,
here we go.
If you are in a dark environment like a wedding reception, I personally would not want to go faster than 1/200th, because shutter controls ambient. And then you end up with a black background. I actually drag my shutter at weddings and pump light in 3 flashes, because the key here, Michelle, is flash freezes motion. If you have enough flash power, I shoot fast dancing receptions at 1/60th, sometimes even a little bit slower. Now, the people in the background might have motion blur, but the subjects,
right there,
with the flash, flash freezes motion. That's number one. At 1/200th of a second, and a flash, you should not be getting motion blur.
I've always heard like 2 stops below ambient light is what your shutter speeds be. That was from Cliff Mountner.
Oh, he's fantastic. So he said it's true.
Yeah, I guess. Right?
Yeah, I mean, for real. Yeah.
2 stops below ambient light, and your flash should freeze.
It should freeze.
Yep.
I didn't have that kind of data around it. I just knew from experience that that's how it worked. Yeah. If I had enough flash, I would freeze it. So this is really a multi-part question. Yes. Number 1, you can have a faster shutter speed.
Yes.
High speed sync. But you might not even need to if we're talking about receptions.
Yeah. I shot pretty slow shutter speed.
I'm telling you, there have been receptions I've shot the whole thing at 1/50th of a second. With light. Lots of light.
Yeah.
Well, boom. And it freezes the motion, and the shots are beautiful. Yeah. And then I have ambient. And you see the room.
Yeah, the room. Oh, the uplights.
Looks nice. Yeah.
No, I don't miss it.
Okay, Jessica asks, she's asking about Boudoir, so this is up your alley.
Hi.
Posing. What resources were or have been helpful to you in getting comfortable with poses?
And getting you comfortable and them comfortable.
Yeah, both you to dictate the poses as well as them to perform the poses, because we all know that when you are explaining something, it's not always easy to execute.
No, it's not. And this is why I show my clients the poses. In most cases, I'll show them, at least for their first couple of outfits, I'll demonstrate the poses myself, and then they get pretty used to what I need from them, and they'll be able to get in. But I think their comfort level comes from your comfort level and your confidence. They assume you know what you're doing, right? I mean, they hired you, so you just need to be confident and comfortable with what you're doing and the way you're positioning them. Now, this is a loaded question because I could talk for an hour about this, but how did I get comfortable with posing? And what resources? Honest to goodness, I watched a lot of YouTube videos. I went on Pinterest to look at things, and then I really just practiced and practiced and practiced. I think I did maybe about 8 to 10 boudoirs before I took my first paying client.
Yeah.
Because I knew boudoir is something that's very specialized, right? You have to know your angles, know which way to pose somebody, you need to know all of this, like flattering stuff, lighting. So I knew that I needed to practice before I took my first client on, and I did. I just practiced. And you actually, when you do that, and there's no pressure from it being a client, you can find out what works and what doesn't work. So I could know, like, okay, that angle isn't going to work for her. I'm going to try something different. And the other key for me was like getting someone in a pose and then like walking around them. So you can see like different angles from a different view. I'd stand up high and then get down low and then just walk to see like what else I see. Because you might miss something that like you didn't see in like a Pinterest example or something. So, yeah, a lot of videos and a lot of practice. I mean, really, it was just practice and finding out what works. And
what was it like shooting your first boudoir?
First client?
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Do you want to know my actual first paying client was a couple's boudoir? Can you believe it?
Negative.
That was and so couples I only do for returning clients now, but that was very stressful. It was nerve-wracking the first time because it was like, oh gosh, am I going to be able to execute? And I was always worried about the light, and oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Now I'm just like, whatever.
But you have to practice. Was the key. You have to practice. And if you have to do some sessions for free for some friends to practice.
And you have to do all body types. Like I don't shy away from anybody. Like anybody can come to me and I'll make you look fantastic, you know? And that was the key for me too, was, you know, making sure I had every body type accounted for and like the work that I'm doing. Now, when I did shoot those people, some were my friends and they were like, no, you can't share my photos anywhere. But I really tried to get people that were like, oh yeah, you can share my photos, because I wanted to show that work, you know, because it's like you shoot what you show. And I knew I wanted to do boudoir from pretty early on. So
yeah, you can't get what you don't show.
Yeah.
Do you know how I got paid for my first boudoir? The first boudoir I photographed, I was paid in corn. A bag of corn.
Corn must have been very important to you.
I mean, I like corn. It was good corn on the cob from a farmer.
Oh.
Well, I was actually photographing this boudoir for a past bridal client of mine.
Okay.
I asked her if she would pose for me. I did not charge her because I wanted to practice. But she was kind enough to pay me in corn. So I took the corn, we ate the corn, and...
Corn or cash? Your choice. No.
But how many did you do for free before you felt comfortable?
Before I felt comfortable? Yeah. I would say after about like 4 or 5, I felt pretty comfortable and like, I could do this. Like, let's make money. But then I did a couple more because I wanted to build up my confidence. How many would you say you've done so far? Oh, God. Well, I've done 100 the last 2 years. So 100 last year, 100 the year before. Oh, gosh.
So probably 300, like, 400,
I would say I might be at like 500.
Wow. So now you feel pretty confident.
Oh, yeah, I could kill it.
Would you consider, two questions.
Oh, gosh.
Would you consider teaching a boudoir posing workshop via the Flourish.Academy?
Sure.
In person at your studio?
Yes.
Consider it done. And
don't you like how you just like rope me into these things? But okay.
On live TV.
So I can't say no now.
And the second question is, I think you were working on this, but a posing guide that you were going to sell online.
Yes. So I wanted to do like the top 5 selling poses.
Yes.
So there's like 5 photos that I execute every single shoot, because I've heard from every single client, and this is data you get at IPS sessions.
Yeah.
I love this photo. I know that they sell. So I had... my idea was to have like a pullback shot of the setup, and then I talk about where my light is, where I'm standing, what I'm shooting at, and then show you an actual photo of the finished product.
And of course the settings, all of that.
Yes, because I feel like, when you get these posing guides and stuff, they don't show you how it was set up, and like the angle might be different than what you're trying to get. So yeah.
I have an old boudoir posing guide that I created. I have a magazine. It's in the drawer back there. I'll show it to you.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I had all of my settings. What I neglected in that posing guide, I think it's a good guide, and I think it's still relevant, but I didn't have the pullback shots.
Yeah.
And I think that that's key, because you don't realize, as somebody looking at your beautiful photos, that you're actually working in a pretty small space in some cases, and you make it look amazing.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, so that would be good. You should do that.
Yes,
okay,
ma'am.
Done.
Sorry, that was a loaded question. I could talk all day about boudoir.
Yeah. Confidence comes from competence, which comes from repetition. You do it over and over.
Over and over.
You get pretty confident in it. Okay, Michelle is asking, how did you handle your health insurance and 401k when you quit your day job? Good question.
My 401k I rolled over, so that sits in an account. How did I handle my health insurance? Oh gosh, I don't want to get political or anything, but
then don't.
I'm not going to get political, but we evaluated multiple options. I'm the breadwinner. My family think I'll always be the breadwinner, but we evaluated like Obamacare versus like private insurance versus Cobra, because I held all the health insurance, and my husband had just gotten a job when I quit mine, and I was like, well, I mean, maybe we get on your plan. And what it worked out to be, I mean, I evaluated all of the resources that are out there, everything I could possibly get. I'm like, okay, this is what I can afford to pay. And most of it was completely unaffordable for me. I mean, I couldn't, it was like $800 a month for, so we actually went on my husband's health insurance. It's not the best, but it's better than what was out there for us.
There are options. Craig and I had a period in our lives where we purchased our own healthcare insurance, and it was not horrible. It wasn't as bad as I thought. I think the key here is you've got to get some information, real information, because what you researched years ago and what I researched maybe 5 years prior to that is completely different than what's available now. You have to get numbers, but look around. It may not be as bad as you think. You have to know what you're up against.
You just don't know until you go out there and just start looking around
and figuring it out. Yeah.
I mean, and we had a budget of what we wanted to pay, knowing that, like, you know, you get a break when you're on an employee benefit package.
Right.
But I don't know. You know, there's a lot of things you can do that are available now.
For sure.
Yeah.
If you have any other questions, would you please comment below? But one thing we'd like to talk about is... Mara and I are up to something.
A lot of things. We
are up to a lot of things. We've been working all day today. But do you want to share a little bit about our mastermind?
You said the keyword.
I did.
Okay, so Heather and I, this I guess was both put on our hearts a long time ago. Well, not a long time ago, months and months ago. And I was driving, and I sent her a message, and I'm like, hey, I think we should start a mastermind for the Flourish.Academy. And she was like, I've been thinking about this myself for a while.
Yeah. Isn't that funny? And I just knew I couldn't, nor did I want to do it alone.
Yeah.
Because we need different perspectives.
Hi. Enter me.
Enter you. You're the different perspective.
We've been working on putting together like what we feel is an effective and beneficial mastermind to the people in this group, and I'm excited to share what we're doing. We are, can I talk?
Yeah, of course.
So what we've decided is the mastermind is going to run each quarter, and it's going to be limited to 10 people per quarter. We will have monthly meetings. Online, one in person, and to like a central location. All of the meetings will be recorded so that if you can't make it to a meeting, you can come back and watch and get all the information. The meetings will have like, you know, business advice from us, like a book discussion, because, you know, we're both very big readers. So that's important for us. Talking about your business, sharing information, challenges, so that everybody in the group can kind of help each other grow. I mean, I always say in my Boudoir group, I say we're better together, and I guess this fits. My shirt says better together today. But I really feel that way. Like, there's so much we can learn from each other, and we want to build a better community.
Yeah, we want to take our bigger community and just break it down into something more effective for people who are serious about moving forward with their business. Yeah.
So we are opening up applications for our masterminds on February 13th.
Very soon.
Next week. That is like Tuesday, the day before Valentine's Day.
It is. It is.
So be on the lookout for that. I'm so excited for this.
We're really excited. I mean, there's an application process, and we're going to look over the applicants and make sure that it's a good fit for the group. Yeah. We'll also have a private Facebook group just for these people so that we can learn, grow, and help each other. Yes. So you can get different perspectives, different types of businesses, different models, because we really believe that not one model fits everyone.
Oh, and there's a bonus.
The bonus, that's right.
The bonus. Do you want to tell me?
No, I'd like you to talk about the bonus.
Oh, so one of the bonus... the bonus that we're offering, so what we're going to do with each person that is accepted into the mastermind, we will be doing a review of your website and recording a screencast and sending that to you so that you can kind of make some changes. We will look at it from a user perspective, right? Mm-hmm. How would a potential client come to your site and find all the information they need, and then send that off to you so you can kind of take a look at that.
And I've done a few of those with some clients. Yeah. Leanne and I have, and it's super useful because you cannot see your website beyond your own view, and we can provide you with some feedback like, hey, you might want to think about changing this, or you might want to do this. Another big thing we're going to talk a lot about is marketing. Marketing is a huge deal because you can't get clients. You don't have a business.
No.
So we have to work on that. Okay, people are saying that they love this and the bonus. Okay, but of course people are asking about the cost. And you know what? We're going to post that for sure. I don't want to put it on video because here's why. We're going to run it every quarter.
Yep.
You can stick with us for one quarter and drop out, or you can keep going through multiple quarters. But the first quarter will be the most inexpensive.
So lock in now.
It's the introductory price. I promise you it is going up after that.
Yes.
We just thought we could be more effective in a group setting with, group mentoring and coaching.
And one-on-one time with us. And
then one-on-one.
A forum to ask questions from people who've run successful businesses. Hi, that's us.
I mean, we're doing all right.
I guess.
Yeah.
We're okay.
We'll do in a pinch.
So that's coming soon. I'm so excited to do this with you.
I am too. Thank you.
I'm so excited.
I cannot believe in how the synchronicity and how this came to be, because I really was thinking about it. And of course I would bring in Leanne on something like this. Did you know Leanne's about to have a baby? So she's kind of busy.
Yeah.
And I thought, how could I do this? How could I structure it? I know that you were super busy. Yeah. And then you mentioned it. And I was like, wow, there it is. That's what's going to happen.
It's going to happen. And we're making it happen.
I spent
a lot of time last week.
You did.
Putting stuff together, and we're going to review it now. And
so that's what we're doing next today. Yes. So we will post that information next week. You can take a look and let us know if you have any questions. And hey, thanks for being with us. Continue to flourish. We'll see you in the next video.